What up, socialites? Welcome back to the Social Studies Podcast with me, Joe Dombrowski.
And me, Gaspare Randazzo.
Just so you guys are aware, I'm in Spokane, Washington all weekend, then Salt Lake City, then Vegas, then Dania Beach, DC, Calgary. I'm in the Netflix is a Joke Festival in Los Angeles. I'm in Rochester, New York, Pittsburgh, Denver, and then I'm shooting a crowd work show in Tacoma at Tacoma Comedy Club. So get your tickets at thejoedombrowski.com. I want to see you there.
And I'll be in Poughkeepsie, New Brunswick, New York City, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Illinois. Joe, you know my show in New York City is at a speakeasy. St. Mark's Comedy Club is behind a library. It's a speakeasy. You have to pass through a library to get to the comedy club. It's pretty cool. I'll be in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Illinois, Philadelphia, Long Island, Boston, Washington, D.C., Tampa, Detroit, Michigan, Staten Island, Columbus, Ohio, and Cincinnati, Ohio. You could get all your tickets at GaspareRandazzo.com.
Wow. So, booked it all yourself. So,
Joseph.
So many lonely nights in a hotel room. So Joseph.
Yeah. Well, it's all right, because now I'm into watching like anime and stuff.
Weird. I got something for you, okay? Listen to this.
I'm not really. I don't watch anime. That was just a joke, guys.
That was a joke. He was aiming one at me. Anyway, Gas. So you know that I told you this about the house? Like our house, when we bought it, it was stuck in the 50s. Like our house is a fucking Brady Bunch, Jetsons looking ass house. And at first we didn't like it. Like the inside, but then like once we started living in it, we're like, oh shit, we're gonna change like very little. It is the epitome of a mid-century modern home. When you look at that, that's what my house is. We're keeping so much of these cool accents about it, except for part of my basement. We're redoing part of my basement, kind of like what would be. We have a rec room in the basement, 2 bedrooms, and like another like living room area. There's like a fireplace down there. It's crazy. Haven't touched it at all, but we're like, oh, we're gonna redo the floor, we're gonna redo the walls, we're gonna do all this shit. So the first step happens, and we're like, all right, we gotta take this wall, we have to wash the walls and take the wallpaper down. We took the wallpaper down.
Wallpaper coming down is a pain in the ass.
It came off super easy.
Oh, good.
But look at the video that I sent you. This is us pulling off the wallpaper.
All right, it looks nice though. Wait. Oh my God, I thought this was backwards. This is awesome.
It's unbelievable.
So for those of you at home who are not watching, it's Joe pulling off wallpaper, and behind it is a scene. It's a desert scene.
Hand-painted mural. It's like a desert. It's got like a desert, and it's got.
Do you know where that is?
Pyramids and shit.
It's not pyramids. It's in like Iraq, like early, like Iraq, Iran, like early river civilizations, like Code of Hammurabi type stuff. They used to build these things called ziggurats, and these are them. They're these temples that they built for the gods. That's what they looked exactly like.
That's a ziggurat?
Look it up. Ziggurat, spell it. I don't know how to.
Ziggurat. Oh my God, that does kind of look like what it is.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But this is a lot of ziggurats. Ziggurats.
But still, or whatever, but that's awesome. Are you leaving? I would 100% leave that.
I know you would. Okay, here's the thing. And it's signed. If you look in the corner, it's signed.
So who did that?
Hold on, I'm not done. So then.
That's the best part of your house.
Gaspare.
Is that the room I'm going to sleep in during the wedding?
Yeah. So then we take down the rest of the wallpaper. The rest of the room is cowhide.
Like actual cowhide or pictures of cowhide?
It is cowhide painted on the wall, or cowhide wallpaper on the wall.
So behind the wallpaper was cowhide wallpaper.
Behind? No. Every wall is cow.
Dude, that picture is amazing.
Okay, so I'll tell
I'm
you
in
about the
love with
picture.
it.
So you guys, for those, it's basically a desert scene. There's like camel prints in the sand dunes. There's a cactus. There's a big piece of driftwood, and then like somebody left their canteen. And then it's got these ziggurat things. I guess Gasper thinks they are.
Or
But then it's got
temples.
like mountains in the background and clouds and shit. It's like it doesn't really make sense. So then Gasper, we did a bunch of research, and it's got this like very faint signature. If you zoom in on that picture, you can kind of see it in the bottom. It's got this signature. And we
I don't
did
see
a
it.
little research on the signature and what it means. Would you believe it, Gasper? This picture is a late hand done painting from Diego Rivera.
Who's that?
Shut the hell up.
Okay.
You don't know who Diego Rivera is? First
Should I
of all,
know who he is?
that ruined everything because I was lying. It's not.
Yeah.
Diego Rivera is like a huge painter.
Oh,
Like huge.
I never heard of him.
Have
Are
you
you
heard of
being
Frida
serious with me?
Kahlo? Have you heard of Picasso?
Yeah, Diego.
Michelangelo? You don't know painters?
Diego Rivera. He
Gasper?
comes up right away.
Salvador
Mhm.
Dali? Do you know these people?
Yeah, Salvador Dali, not Dali. Oh, I guess I've seen this Diego's stuff.
It's not a Diego Rivera. I thought I was going to get you on some shit, but it didn't work out. Anyway.
Diego Rivera was not a good-looking man.
Really?
Dude. I mean, his pictures with him and his wife.
Frida? Wasn't he married to Frida? Oh, dude. Diego Rivera. Yeah, he was. I think he was married to Frida. Yeah, Diego
Frida
Rivera.
Calloway. I know her.
Calloway.
Isn't it Calloway?
Kahlo?
Frida Kahlo?
Oh,
What is it?
wow. Frida Kahlo.
Yeah, Calloway.
Okay.
Oh, they were both artists. That's beautiful.
Yep, they were. Okay, anyway, so we got this friggin' mural in the basement, right? And I don't think we're going to keep it.
That's a
I
mistake.
don't think we're going to keep. Well, I think, in 25 years, it will be probably pushing 100 years old. So we're thinking about maybe putting wallpaper over it instead of just painting over it.
Yeah, do that. Don't get rid of that. That's history. Diego Rivera
That's what I
painted that.
thought too. Like back in the day when people, that's what I told Morgan. I was like, this is a whole bit of history. It's like back in the day when people used to put wallpaper, they used to paint these murals in their rooms. And this is like what they did in houses. He's like, people do that shit now. You ever go on TikTok and watch some woman paint her child's bedroom with some beautiful cartoons all over? I was like, okay, you're kind of right. You're kind of right.
Joe, do you want to know something weird about wallpaper?
I'm sure you're going to blow my mind with some shit right now.
No. This is it's a partial did you know? Did you know that after World War I, right, in Germany, money became useless, right? Because they were in such debt that inflation like went through the roof, right? And it was basically like money became irrelevant. Like a loaf of bread would be like 2 million marks, like $2 million for a loaf of bread, because like the value of money made no sense because they had no products. So like money meant nothing to them. Like they only had like 5 loaves of bread. So the 5 people who had loaves of bread were like, yeah, it's $10 million if you want bread. And it's like you either could buy it or you didn't. You get what I'm saying? Because like everything was all thrown off. So instead of buying wallpaper, people would take the money because it was cheaper to use the money as wallpaper. So they would wallpaper their house with all the money.
Oh, wow.
So like there's all these people. And then like the kids, it was cheaper to just use the money than it was to actually buy toys. So they would just like glue the money together and turn into bricks for the kids.
Yeah. I see that they turned money into bricks. People made dresses and hats and full suits out of the coins and stuff.
You would use it to, you would use your banknotes to light a fire, to use
wipe
your
your
stove.
Ass, probably.
I mean, everything. Money was completely irrelevant. Like for you to buy a loaf of bread, you'd have to go to the bank and literally take out buckets
all of your money.
Buckets of money. So like who the hell was doing that? So it made no sense. So they just used the money for other things.
Thank you for that fact. You know what, Gasper, is so crazy? One of the other things that people could have used that money on to speak in Germany is Babbel.
Yeah, because if they knew how to speak German, then all their problems would have been solved.
And guess what? It's time. Did you write this?
No.
You did. You did.
I swear I didn't get on. I couldn't find the Babbel ad.
Gasper, you swear to God you didn't
I swear
write
on
this?
my kids.
You swear to God you didn't write this?
Swear to God.
Then this came straight from Babbel. It's time to speak a little Dutch with Babbel.
Oh. Hi, Babbel.
While the best way to learn a new language is to move to a foreign country where you're forced to learn the language to survive, a less dramatic way to become bilingual is to download Babbel. Babbel's lessons are created by real people and rooted in real life situations. You'll actually be able to order food, ask for directions, and maybe snag yourself a hot date. Ooh, Gasper, you gonna go get on Babbel? Speak a little Espanol in Spain and pull up some Frida Kahlo up on that ass?
Speak a little, what's that place, Arendelle, where the Princess Anna and Elsa are from? Forget it.
Anyway, their 10-minute lessons will get you speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. In fact, one study even found that using Babbel for 15 hours is the equivalent of a full semester of a college language course. Here's a special limited time deal for social studies listeners. Listen up. It's a good one, guys. 55% off your Babbel subscription right now, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/social. That's 55% off at babbel.com/social. Spelled BABBEL.com/social. Rules and restrictions do apply. Go get you some Babbel. Yo, so you know it's March's Reading Month. Do your kids do any cool March's Reading Month things at school?
I don't understand what you're saying. What is it?
They don't celebrate March's Reading Month at your kids' schools?
They just read every day.
Every school I've ever been to does this whole celebration, March's Reading Month.
Every month's reading
There's
month.
tons of reading celebrations and activities and reading things all through the month of March. No?
Never heard of it.
Really?
We don't read in New York.
Yes, I'm aware. So anyway,
We're just angry.
I did a little March's Reading Month for my cousin's class, and I read a book to her second grade class, but it happens to be the school district that I went to as a student, and I also was a student teacher in, and my first job, blah, 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 blah. So I read to her class, ended up reading to the entire school. So every teacher was on Zoom, and I read a book to all the kids. And
but do they remember you? Like, were they still there from when you were a kid?
I didn't go to that school. I didn't go to that school. I don't know. I didn't know anybody but my cousin. Right. So I log on. All the teachers are there. And there's always that one teacher who doesn't unmute themselves. And this teacher, right into the camera, goes, "Yeah, his name's Joe Dombrowski. I don't know who that is." And I was like, ego deflated. It was so funny.
You should be like, "Hey, bitch."
That's all I got.
"Hey, bitch, I'm going to ruin your book now." Wait, so you zoomed in on all the classrooms?
Mm-mm. One Zoom, and each class logged in on their own.
Why didn't you just Zoom everybody at the same time?
It's not high school where they all have their own. They're not all using their own login. Like, it was like each little individual box. I was looking at a bunch of kids sitting at the carpet.
Oh, like 30 kids per
bot. Like, each one was a different classroom. And then they put me on their projector.
Were they excited with the kids? Like, was it cool?
Yes, very excited. They had no fucking idea who I was, though. But then I explained it. And I was like, "I'm Joe. I'm a stand-up comedian. Do any of you know what that is?" And this one kid's like, "You're a joke teller. You tell jokes." I was like, "I do. I tell jokes for money." And basically, I'm a clown. Just pimping myself out, right? Do you know what pimping means? Yeah.
Well, guys, because it ain't easy.
And then one of the kids, I explained to them I used to be a teacher, and then I started doing blah, 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 blah. And at the end, I was like, do you guys have any questions like about the book? And the first kid goes, why did you leave teaching? And I was like, and I just looked at him. I was like, well, to sum it up, pretty much I wanted to be able to wake up on my own schedule, go to doctor's appointments at normal times, go to the bank for the first time ever, not suffer from a bladder infection. I just kept going on, and the teachers were just like cracking up.
Did he laugh, the kid?
No, he just looked at me like, oh, okay.
All right, doctors, cool. He wrote that down.
That's really good. 5 kids asked the same question. Who is your favorite character in the book? Still the same one that I answered one question ago.
What book did you read?
Who is your favorite main character? I go, the main character.
What book?
And then another kid, I read The Sour Grape by Jory John. Jory John's got a whole, you would love these books. It's a whole series pretty much, but each one is like a different fruit or vegetable that kind of like learns a lesson or teaches a lesson.
I've
The
seen
bad
it before.
seeds, sour grape. Yeah, they're great. They're so good. One of my go-tos that I do whenever people have a baby, I send people. And Ezra's one of the people I did this to. Ezra's our editor, by the way. If you ever have a new baby, I reuse the same gift over and over again. And I send people the entire Jory John series, like all of the books in his series.
Yeah, that's a good gift because it's practical.
I think so too. I think it's a great gift. Like start to build your library.
Yeah, like a lot of people think like good baby gift is like a blanket. And honestly, you're just like overwhelmed with blankets when you have a baby.
Yeah, I did get one of my managers is pregnant right now. I'm pretty fucking sure she's not going to hear this. So I'm going to just go ahead and say what I got her for her new baby. I missed her baby shower because I was on the road, and I got her baby Converse All-Stars high tops, but they're crocheted. So they're like baby booties, but they look like Converse All-Star high tops.
Yeah, those are cute. I think Lucy had them or Gaspare. One of them had them. So, all right. Speaking of kids, 2 things. I'll give you an option. Do you want to talk about a show on Netflix called The Program? Did you watch it?
Oh, yeah. I'll fucking shred that to bits. What's the other option?
Did you watch it?
The worst documentary I've ever watched. I actually watched it. I was like, I can't believe Netflix bought this shit.
It was horrible.
Terrible.
It was terrible. No. First episode,
the story itself
is
horrible,
interesting.
Terrible. I feel so bad for the victims. The documentary itself is bad.
It's horribly done. It makes no sense. Like Melissa and I were convinced that they just filmed it themselves, and we're like, "Hey, Netflix, you interested in this?" And they were like, "Sure."
They happened to say yes. Yeah.
It should have been just 1 episode. Like they dragged it out for 4 episodes for no reason. We didn't watch all 4.
And there's no. Oh God, we went in too deep. We got to tell people, you guys, a little bit. This is a little bit having to do with child abuse. If you need to know that up front, essentially, this documentary is about this quote unquote school where they would send super bad kids,
but not necessarily bad. Just like you could have did one little bad thing in your life.
Your parents wanted you to go. Your parents thought, or they knew that they were sending you to boarding school, but it wasn't really boarding school, and it ended up being like it basically wasn't even school at all. It was just like very abusive situations, and like mentally and physically. It was like actually probably even worse than what a juvenile delinquent center was doing to kids. Like it was bad.
To the point where like these kids, like their parents thought they were doing the right thing, but they would come in the middle of the night, handcuff you and drag you out of your house. And the parents would just be like, sorry, like I'm doing this for your good. And then you end up in this facility where you can't speak. You can't interact with anybody.
You can't even look out the window. It's like nuts.
And like they made them like have a point system where like if you screw up, you get points. And then if you have enough points, you have to go like sit in these like, 8 hours of saying like palms, palm in, palm out, palm up, palm down, palm in, palm out. And you're like moving your palms for 8 straight hours, moving your arms. It was torture. It's child abuse. They tried rioting. They tried getting out of the situation.
It's a bunch of bullshit, you guys. But here's the thing. The documentary itself
makes no sense.
So it was done by one of the victims. Okay. One of the kids who grew up and became a documentary or whatever. Centered it around themselves too much, I'll say. And also, there was no ending. Every scene was just, and then they did this, and then they did this, and then I was like, are we gonna follow the lawsuit and we're gonna convict these people? And no,
it never gets to it.
Just never ended.
They're interviewing someone in a diner, and it's kind of interesting. They're interviewing someone who worked there.
That was the worst part. I was so pissed.
And they're interviewing a woman who works there, and they're like, why did you do what you did? And then they're like, oh, the waitress in the diner told us we can't talk about that. Interview's over, and then it just ends. Wouldn't you continue the interview in the parking lot?
Even worse is she was saying, the woman was saying, the kids who'd come in, like the lesbians and the gay, and then the waitress came and broke up the table. And I was like, what about them? What about them? What happened?
Nope, they just
nothing.
never left it. All right, so that's
worst
one
documentary. Don't watch it,
Don't
you guys.
watch it.
Don't watch it. For many reasons. You're just going to leave sad. At least American Horror Story, we had a major redemption.
American Horror Story?
Not American Horror Story. American Nightmare.
Yeah,
Jesus.
where they actually
I'm just mad now. Now I'm just mad.
The other thing is, I was watching today, I fell down a rabbit hole at work with my students about the iron lung. Do you know about this?
Not really.
Okay, so when kids were getting polio in the 1900s, in the early 1900s, they, polio, it basically, it's like a nerve damage, it could paralyze you. You couldn't walk. FDR had polio. That's why they would prop him up at the, when he would do interviews, they would prop him up at the stand with, because they didn't want the president to appear weak. When he drove, he would have these things where he could drive himself so that people didn't know, he couldn't use his legs. He would use canes to hit the gas and the brakes. This way they would, that he didn't look like he was sick. Either way. So the iron lung was when kids started getting sick with polio, at 5, 6 years old. They would put them in this thing. It looked like a casket, but your head stuck out.
Whoa, what the fuck? So this would help you breathe, this thing?
So the iron lung would basically act like your lungs on your chest. And you would get in it. So picture a casket if you're just listening, and just your head is sticking out. And then the rest of it is
spaceship, you guys. It's crazy.
And this was from the 1900s early. And it would make you breathe. It would breathe for you. So this guy died a few days ago. He was in his 80s.
I'm watching him.
He had
and he's been in that thing since he was a little kid?
Since he was 6. He went to college. He became a lawyer. So when he was in college, he said it was great because it got him all this attention because he was the kid in the...
Stop.
Yes, I know. It's crazy.
Did he leave it?
No.
And then he just sleep in it?
He was in it for 70 years. He was in the iron lung and he needed it to breathe. So he went to law school. You have to see, Joe, how he writes. He puts, because the only thing that's sticking out is his head. He puts a pen in his mouth. And it's a device that's a pen connected to a long pole. And he was typing, typing on the keyboard. He reads books all day. He was a lawyer. They used to wheel him into court. And this guy won cases. He was a full-on lawyer. And he lived in the...
Stop. I need to backtrack. What the fuck does the iron... if you didn't have the iron lung, do you die?
Yes, because it was breathing.
Polio affects your lungs?
It's just your nervous system. So for a lot of polio people, I guess they needed it to, it's to stimulate breathing in patients who have lost control of their respiratory muscles.
Oh, so his body wouldn't move his lungs unless he had this thing.
Yes.
What happened if they had to do work on it, if there was a power outage?
This guy was in the iron lung for 70 years.
Dude, what do you fucking think his body looked like?
Okay, so this is, all right, I'm not going to lie. These are the things I was thinking about.
Did he get married? Did he have kids? Was he a virgin?
I don't know. I mean, I never asked him, but
He couldn't have had sex, right? Because his wiener was in the lung.
he, uh,
Could he move around in there?
well, he went to college.
How did he shit?
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, how did they? Number one, did they clean him? Like, because
Oh,
he
I'm
couldn't have
watching
just
him type on the.
been in here for 70 years. It's very
This is
crazy to me. Then we watched the story online. Like, we watched his.
Gaspare.
Yeah.
Are iron lungs still a thing? Like if somebody
No,
got
today
polio,
they're
like
replaced by
now?
modern ventilators. Like, if you look up Paul
Oh,
Alexander outside the iron lung,
so
think
why didn't they just give him a ventilator?
maybe because he was in it for so long, they just figured leave him.
Just stay
Oh,
in it.
I mean, okay, I'm looking at a picture right now that they lifted it so you can get to his body. It's not like he was stuck in there. I don't know.
But
It's
he couldn't. Did he ever leave it? This is insane.
okay.
Okay, we
So
can't
if
just.
you
All
look,
we're doing is asking questions to these fans who are listening to the podcast, and they're
if
just
you
all going unanswered.
if you look, Paul Alexander was his name. Look at Paul Alexander outside the iron lung. He was like a
No.
70s dude. He's just like hanging out with like glasses on, like I don't know. You see what I'm
How'd
talking
he get
about?
out of it? So he didn't have to be in it at all times.
No, like so when he was young, his mom used to force him to spend like 10, 15 minutes a day outside it to try to build up his lungs. And then I think towards the end of his life, he just fully went into it. You know?
That was smart.
I wonder like what he ate. Like he probably wanted the convenience of takeout, but without the price or the hassle of waiting in the drive-through because the iron lung. So he probably could have used Factor. Factor would have had him covered. Not
Oh
only is
my
Factor cheaper
God.
than fast food,
Oh my God. Oh my God. You're
not
going to hell for that one.
only
But
is Factor cheaper than fast food, but the meals are delicious and ready in just 2 minutes. All you have to do is heat them up. Choose. Choose how many meals you want every week from a list of over 35 amazing recipes and over 60 add on items. You can even pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. So, I'm not going to lie, we've been using Factor. Melissa is obsessed with the salmon. You know how Melissa is. She's picky as hell with food she doesn't eat. She could just go like 3 days without eating, like no problem at all. She's been getting these Factor salmon meals. She eats them every day. I'm happy because salmon's good for her. In general, salmon's good for everybody. The sides on the Factor meals are delicious. The regular
so
food's
good.
really good too, but the sides are so good on the Factor meals. So there's no prepping, there's no cooking, there's no cleanup. You take it out, you pop some holes in the top, you heat it up. It seems really healthy when you eat it, and you don't have to cook it. You just microwave it and then you throw the tub in the garbage. You don't even have to use a plate. It couldn't be faster or easier to get dinner on the table. So head to factormeals.com/socialstudies50 and use code socialstudies50 to get 50% off. That's code socialstudies50 at factormeals.com/socialstudies50 to get 50% off. So we asked our Patreon followers today to send us any single things that you really wanted to send us, comments, questions, and we were going to do a little segment based on stuff that they wrote. So I'm going to read some of the stuff that we wrote.
And you can become a Patreon member at patreon.com/the social studies podcast. You get a lot of perks over there. And you support the podcast, keep us on the air. So consider becoming a member at patreon.com/the social studies podcast.
So Anne Marie said, "What's up, Anne Marie? She's a Staten Islander for that I know. I love hearing about Gaspar's adventures with the girl who fell off the cliff. They really went to some cool places. I love hearing Joe's reaction to those places. Happy St. Joseph's Day, Joe. That's right.
Oh, thank you so much.
Joe. Happy St.
Did your
Joseph's
parents?
Day.
Thank you so much. I did wake up to a slew of Happy St. Joseph's Day texts. We used to do St. Joseph's Day things when I
Oh,
was
did you?
little.
What'd
Yes,
you do?
like we would go
Eat bread
to the bar, actually.
and do what?
Well, I would watch my dad drink.
Happy St. Joseph's Day. I'm gonna have a beer.
Yep.
We
Yep.
never really did anything for St. Joseph's Day. And my brother's name is Joe.
Yeah. Well, come on.
We're not a good Italian family.
It's okay.
So I will tell you this one story about the girl who fell off the cliff, aka my ex-girlfriend.
Margarita Santina.
Yesterday we were at St. Patrick's Day dinner, and I was like telling a story, and I was like, Melissa looked at me at the middle of dinner and was like, "When did you do that?" I was like, "Oh, I went with this girl, but she fell off a cliff." So like everybody left. She's like, "It's not even funny anymore." She's like, "We've been together for 15 years. Stop referring to your exes as a girl who fell off the cliff." And I'm like, "Yeah, just I don't know." I was like, "I don't want to be like my ex-girlfriend." It's kind of weird at this point in our lives. All right.
Yeah, it is.
Faith said, "I think you guys need a segment similar to the Did You Know, but titled Down the Hole We Go. It highlights Joe's rabbit holes." I love that title. Down the hole we go. So, Joe, I'll ask a question
A little
for her.
sexual.
Down the hole we go. Well, you know what they say about ostriches, right? They'll stick their head in any dirty hole.
Ugh.
That's why they called you the ostrich in high school.
Oh.
Oh, it was college.
Ugh. Your mother listens to this.
So, Joe, what's the best rabbit hole you've been down recently?
Well, I'm currently on a strong religious rabbit hole and I know Gaspare, you don't like me talking about it, but it's not just Christians, okay, you guys? Radical Christians. Like they're out there talking some shit. Okay. And here are some examples that I found. I found a woman today who straight up said, if you have a family history of schizophrenia and mental illness, such as anxiety or depression, that is not something that you need a therapist for. You have demons in your bloodline and you need to get them exorcised.
Can you still get an exorcism these days? Where do you get one?
Yeah, you can actually.
You looked
probably
it up?
You probably go to church and get one. Anyway, that's like some shit that I can't stand because that's basically like could lead to like religious-based medical neglect. And I just feel so bad for people who are actually indoctrinated into that mindset and don't seek the help that they deserve and need. It just drives me crazy. So I think about that.
I agree with that.
But
well, it's like when people don't take medicine and they're like,
there's a lot of people who don't like the gays. A lot. I found this big time pastor who's very powerful. So I'm not talking about him because people have talked about him in the past and their accounts got shut down. And I'm not trying to get my shut down just because I'm trying to tell this guy off. Anyway, he went on this whole anti-gay sermon where he refers to gays as he'll say, the sodomites, and he'll like go crazy on them. And I'm like, honestly, the sodomites. The whole time he's doing this sermon, he is wearing the most beautiful silk paisley shirt. And I'm like, honey, really, you're going to get up here preaching that shit? Well, guess what? My culture's not your costume. You can thank the gay man who stitched that together for you. Double think your shit before you do it. But then
did you write that to him?
This led me to some thinking. Okay, here's my thing. I have been going down in an earlier round, and Sugar we're going down swinging, and I'm finding that all these different types of people, of these radical Christians, are all choosing their own shit. Like one pastor will be going off on how women can never be pastors and women are not equal to men. And that's what God said. And that's what the Bible teaches. And if you, and this guy's like going off, right? But then you have and he's whipping out verses that back up what he's saying. Then there was another woman who was saying that the same thing about the gays and why that's wrong. And she's whipping out Bible verses. I found another person who said that being a Democrat is anti-God and then pulled out all these Bible verses to back that shit up. And I'm like, is this what this is? Like you have your interpretation of this book and you find what you want to hear. And these people are just like, that's it. And they double down on it. And I'm seeing a lot what they're preaching. They're not even thinking about it. And they're not even taking a moment to be like, yeah, it does say this, but also it says this, and also this. And also this says that a person literally took ocean water and turned it into blood so that everyone could like, are we thinking? Are we thinking with our minds? I don't know, Gas.
Listen. All I know is, guys,
You're going to shut the conversation down.
This is what I go through, and Joe will call me at 11 o'clock at night and start telling me this on the phone.
You guys, it's just so much, okay? It's just like, and then.
But do you know how much an exorcism costs? Priests can do them. They do them for free. I just read it.
We're going to do it.
Hell no. I don't want to be exercised. I'm just sitting there normal.
You need it.
And he's just yelling at me.
That
the power of Christ compels. He's dipping me in the pool.
Goodbye. The last thing I will say though is it is sad when there are like little children involved and they're just like preaching and doing this shit, and the kids are up there like, trans people are going to Hades. It's like you don't know shit about shit, little guy.
No, I agree.
I'm so sorry, Gas. I know it's a hill I'm willing to go down for. Like,
no, I'm not. Listen, I'm not.
And the churches aren't taxed. Get me out of here. Move on.
Oh,
they're not taxed. They don't pay fucking taxes, but yet their Christmas extravaganza down in Sugarland, they have Jesus and Santa in a sleigh together, flying in with fireworks. I'm so sorry. Those are people's dollars, untaxed. Take me off and go on to a new topic before I lose
anyway, someone said maybe interpret your astrological signs. Gaspare doesn't subscribe to astrology, but it's fun to see if your sign captures your essence. So, Joe, what's your sign again?
They said too. This is another thing. One of the radical Christians I followed.
What's your sign? You tell me this, I'm gonna Google it.
She said she was out for coffee, and the guy said, "What's your sign?" And she goes, "I'm a daughter of the king. I don't nothing." And I was like, "Okay, girl."
All right. So, are you a son of the king, or do you have a sign?
I am a Taurus, and I am it to a T.
A Taurus
to a T.
All right, Taurus. Well, I'm just gonna do simplified because there's a fucking novel here. What type of person is a Taurus? Typical sun and Taurus traits include hard-headed. I don't think you're hard-headed. You're pretty open-minded.
For sure. I'm very open-minded, but I can be super hard-headed.
Down to earth, yes, I agree with. Tenacious, yeah. Reliable, you are reliable. Loyal, you're loyal. And sensual. Ugh.
I'm not sensual.
No, you're not a sensual person?
I'm not romantic. I'm not.
Oh, yeah, you hate all that shit.
I hate all that shit.
You know, I hate that my sign is called Cancer because, like, when you look it up, it's fucking Cancer.
Cancer.
A Cancer is nurturing and loyal. I'm nurturing. Mm-hmm. Cancers are protective of their loved ones while reserved. I'm not really reserved. They stand on the foundation of strength. They aren't afraid to act when they feel it's necessary. Okay, I can see that. What sign is Cancer attracted to? Taurus.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. Pisces and Scorpions. What the hell is Melissa? November 14th. What's that sign?
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio. Shit, we are. Fuck. All right, whatever. I guess I'll stay with her. All right. Oh, Joe, I meant to tell you, congratulations on making it into the American Sleep Study.
Thank you.
Wait, I mean America's institution or whatever. What were you in? You were
American
in something.
Life.
What was that?
American Life.
What is American Life?
It's a really well-known podcast on NPR.
So a lot of people were saying that to me. Not sure why they were telling me.
What were they saying?
They were just like, wow, that's amazing that Joe's on American Life. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So congrats on that.
Yeah.
So
So, for those of you who don't know, I was on an episode of This American Life this past week because the whole theme was like people who woke up to a new reality. And we talked about my sleep disorder. If you're new here, I have the world's rarest sleep disorder. It's called Kleins-Levin syndrome. It affects 1 in a million people. And I have it. And basically, to sum it up, if you're just hearing about this, you're going to have so many questions. I'll fall asleep randomly anywhere from 7 to like 32 days in a row. Yes, it's true. So they did an interview with me on this. And here's the thing. First of all, very grateful for the interview. I think that anybody who's learning about KLS and hears it will find some solace and it will lead them to a proper diagnosis. However, they interviewed me for 2 hours and the segment was so short and they didn't even really talk. I talked so much about like living with it, the symptoms, what happens, how you can get a diagnosis, being resilient when you still have this disorder. And like the whole thing was kind of like all the scary parts of it and like horror stories that have happened with it. And I was like, damn, I wish it was like an interview of me and I could really give like, like the honest, raw realness about this disorder. Cause I think it came off like too like fear mongering, like almost scary. Like there was no positivity of it. Like I left listening to it like these people are going to have so many fucking questions about this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I didn't see enough of it to, you know what I mean? I know about it and the question was that they wanted to know was about it. So they said,
what was it?
Well, it wasn't about it, but they just said, I have narcolepsy. And if he's like me, he's got sleep dream stories. Wait, narcolepsy is where you just fall asleep in the middle of doing stuff, right?
Yeah. With Klein-Levin syndrome, when you're in it, you'll have extremely crazy, vivid dreams, like very, very highly realistic, vivid dreams. It's wild.
And do you like feel them? Like you're awake and you can feel them as you go through them?
Kind of, yeah. Kind of. Like there were dreams that would happen and I'd have to like wake up and be like, hey, this didn't happen, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Like you feel like you like ruined a relationship or someone yelled at you or something. It was like, no, that was a dream. It's like, oh, okay, thank God. Yeah.
You know when like you dream something and it's so realistic, then you like wake up and it's like you like dream about somebody you like, and it's like someone common in your life, and then you're like in love with them when you wake up. You know what I'm talking about? Not like really in love with them, like you want to be with them, just like you have a dream about like I have a dream about like my boss, and then like the next day I'm like, am I in love with my boss? Like, but I'm not. Like it's you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you dreamt, and in dream world, like everything's perfect. So then when you wake up, you're like, wait, are we in love? Like, and they have no idea that it ever even happened because you're dreaming and they're not in your dream for real. You know what I'm talking about or no?
Not really.
Really?
Not really. No, not really.
Like with a coworker, like you're with them all the time, and then like you dream about them.
No, not really. No,
and it's
not
like
at
not
all.
even like a sexual thing. It's just like Joe.
Sorry, I'm roasting. I just remembered I was roasting beets, and like we've been on for a long time now. I'm like, oh shit, I got to turn the oven off.
Are they on? Are they there? Still fine?
Yeah,
They've been there for
fine.
over an hour.
Beets take forever to make, and the bigger they are, the longer you have to roast them. And these are pretty big beets. I love beets. I love
like beets are the red ones.
Yeah, or there's golden beets too, but
I'm talking about beets are the things you eat on Thanksgiving, or is that radishes? I mean, no, what's the one? It's like cut. They're red. That's cranberries.
Beets. Cranberry. Oh, you're thinking about like cranberries out of a jar that you like slice.
Yeah,
cranberry sauce.
That's delicious.
That shit is so good.
Beets. I don't know if I could eat a beet.
I love beets. They're the best.
You just eat them raw?
No, I'm roasting them.
Well, I mean, yeah, but can you eat them raw? I just looked up cooked beets in an Instapot. Oh, they look all right.
Yeah. You just typed out good cooked beets.
They're like cubed.
Yeah, they can be.
Oh, yeah. You need to cook them for over an hour for large beets.
Yeah. Yeah. For large beets.
For large beets. For my daughter
Large.
at her party.
For large beets.
My family was making fun of me at the party. They're like, my daughter's party was this weekend. They're like, this can't get any more Italian. You just need like a section of White Claws in the corner. Like we had like Cinderella coming. Everyone's painting. It was a painting party. And then, so they painted for 45 minutes. Well, not really. They painted for 5 minutes and made a mess for 40. Then the kids ate pizza, but we ordered food. We got appetizers. We got like antipasta. We got a charcuterie board or whatever. We had all this stuff. And then Cinderella showed up and then she sang to the kids. She like went in the corner and was like, I want to be where the people are, whatever.
Was she a good singer?
It was dubbed. A lot of it was dubbed over.
She was like singing it to a recording?
Yeah, it was like, I don't really know what was happening, honestly. I was very distracted by the kids. And and then she like played the game where you go into the the limbo. Like they limboed, then they did freeze dance, then they took pictures, then we all took pictures. It was fun. Then we did a cake, and that was the end of the party, but it was just chaos. And now Gaspar's party's this weekend. And Gaspar's birthday was yesterday. Lucy's birthday was a few days. It's just been just like one long day, it feels like.
Jeez, God.
So it's all good. We got a Mario and Luigi cake for Gaspar for his birthday. And Lucy's like, I want to eat Mario's head. So she took the knife and she's cutting a giant chunk of cake out for herself. Also, she had parent-teacher conference today, and they told us that this was the report, which I'm proud of her. I'm happy with these. The report was that she's smart, blah, blah, blah. She plays with the kids. She's the teenager of the class. Sometimes she has a little attitude, but it's because she's a little more mature than everybody else. But she likes to act like the comedian of the class. Like today they had a St. Patrick's Day party, but she kept telling everybody it was Halloween, knowing that it was funny and as a joke. So I was like, all right, well, that's not really funny, but good for her. She's trying. And look, here's Mario and Luigi cake, but Gaspar ripped their eyeballs out because he wanted to see what they would taste different if their eyeballs tasted different. So he might be a psychopath. All right. We'll save the rest of these questions for the next episode that we're going to have to record tomorrow.
Thank you guys. If you want to see me on the road, remember I'm in Spokane all weekend. We'll get you tickets at thejoedombrowski.com.